When I first started working with clients with the tools that I teach now, they were all clients that I represented in a lawsuit or one kind of lawsuit or another. A couple of them had physical injuries. One of them was fired for an illegal reason. One of them was sexually assaulted, and they were all really struggling. And a couple of them had therapists, but they wanted to work on how they were telling their stories. And a couple of them really couldn't find therapists and were just in a really tough time. And so I said, you need to find a therapist. And also, we can talk about what's going on with you. I had three people come to me at the end of that year and say, I didn't tell you this at the time, but I was struggling with thoughts of unaliving myself. And I understood that because I had struggled with that kind of thinking in the past. And what really struck me was that there are all of these small ways that we sort of unalive or we like quiet unalive in our lives. We opt out of jobs, we opt out of groups, we opt out of friendships or relationships, and there's just all these ways that that kind of thinking invades our lives. So I made this little chart of reminders just to keep in mind about your brain and if your brain is like quietly unaliving you. First, this doesn't mean that you are broken. Adding on judgments on top of really struggling with judgmental or unaliving thoughts is not, it doesn't help. Second, talk to people about it. When thoughts are hidden, when we are too afraid to talk about them, they become dangerous. When we're willing to tell people about them, all of a sudden they lose their charge and lose their power. Third, our brains have been evolved to save our lives, but they've evolved to save our lives from things like bear attacks, not from the daily life we experience now. So a lot of times unaliving thoughts are really sort of an evolutionary mechanism to save our lives that's just misguided. The good news is you're not your thoughts. Our brains are having thoughts the same as our heart pumps blood or our liver flushes out toxins or our stomach digests food. Our brains are just having thoughts. So if they're having unaliving thoughts, that doesn't mean that that's coming from you or that that's who you are. Most importantly, you can train your thoughts to work in your favor again, and you're not supposed to do this alone. So that's what a lot of therapy does, that's what coaching does, but you can train your thoughts to serve you again. And the most important thing you can do if you're having unaliving thoughts is talk about them.